718
OJETTN.
2030. That's cute. I like it. And your address? 102.
I think they were saying it's accurate. 212-289-7258. Evenings the same, and it's AnnGood@AOL.com. Thank you very much. Take care and have a great day. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm here with, your full name is?
Jerry Herman.
Okay, Jerry Herman, and what time did you get down here about?
I think about 8:45.
Okay, this would otherwise be a day off for you, is that right?
Every day is a day off for me.
Lucky, lucky, lucky. So, why are you down here today?
Where else can you be in New York City than to be at WBAI? It's the only place that truly exemplifies the spirit of this city.
And what do you think the value of BAI is? I mean, we've heard that if we don't do enough fundraising, perhaps it'll go dark. What would New York be like without WBAI?
New York would be a cold place.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Can you spell your name for me, please?
Herman.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Jerry with Jerry, Herman. And I'm with another volunteer now. Your name is?
Kylia Ability.
Kylia, what time did you get down here this morning?
I believe I arrived at 7:15.
Where did you come in from?
Came in from Queens.
Okay, so which train was that?
Actually, I got on the wrong train. I thought I was on the E, and I ended up on the F, and I got turned around, but it took a little bit longer. I had intended to be here at 6:30.
So, but you're here. So what is the value of WBAI to you?
Oh, God, it's tremendous. As a community resident and activist of sorts, I find that without WBAI, we'd just be lost as it relates to what is accuracy in terms of news reporting and awareness of what's happening in our community and how the world is being shaped. So it's just invaluable.
As a community activist, what kinds of things are you working on?
Well, actually, I work in the areas of education, trying to help to educate our youth and young adults, help them become employed, and to economically be able to grapple with some of the conditions that many are facing nowadays. So that's primarily what I'm involved in. And also being consciously aware myself so I can help to inform others of what's vital to them in terms of their being able to contribute to the world.
And what is the role of BAI within the context of all of that?
Actually, to be a provider of information, of truth, of positiveness and optimism that we should have as it relates to the future in terms of our being able to stand up and have some conviction for what it is that we feel is right. I think that advocacy as it relates to WBAI being able to be informative is clearly something that you just can't put a price on nowadays. And in view of, I think, of the types of personnel that they bring in terms of their level of intellect and creativity in terms of making sure that people understand what's going on, I mean, you just can't pay for this. It's priceless.
Just suppose the worst happens and BAI is gone. How much harder is it for us as activists to operate in the community?
If there were no BAI?
Yes, so you would be calling them and saying that.
I mean, there's enough to grapple with right now as it relates to what are some of the inaccuracies in the media. And, I mean, if we're holding on tightly to one another now, I just can't imagine how much more tightly we'd have to hold on to one another. It's inconceivable to me to think about what we do without WBAI.
Thank you very much. Could you spell your name for me, please?
Oh, gee, it's so long.
Okay.
K-H-A-Y-R-I-Y-Y-A-H. It's my first name. Last name is Abdul Lateef. A-B-D-U-L-L-A-T-E-E-F is in friend.
Thank you very much.
What do you say, when to do this? That's what, 3, 400. All right. What
I'm in good shape. I'm here in the studio at WBAI with Bernard White, who everyone. Oops. I'm here with Bernard White, who's the co-host of Wake Up Call, known to most of our BAI listeners. We're doing Fund Drive today. You want to tell us a little bit about it and what it means?
Well,
Could you just pull that?
okay. Okay, let me turn this down.
There's a switch, it should be pushed up.
Okay. And your question was?
The question was basically fundraiser, what's its role and what's its importance to the station?
Well, the fundraiser is extremely important to the station. We do about 4 a year, 3 major ones and 1 mini fund drive we do in August. We do one in October, 1 in January, as well as 1 in May. And it is very important. It is how we get the funds to make sure that we are able to stay on the air. Just about, I would imagine about 80% of the monies that we get come from our listenership in one form or the other. We do get a percentage of the money from the CPB, which is the federal government's broadcast. Well, it's not federal government. Well, maybe I should take that from the top. Corporation for Public Broadcasting, right. We get a lot of our money from a percentage of our money from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. But the overwhelming majority of it comes from our listeners in one form or the other. It is very expensive down here where we are. There are some folks who might say that we shouldn't be on Wall Street, but the fact is that we are here, and we have to try and keep pace with rising expenses. And we fall into some difficulty in keeping pace, but I think we'll make the adjustment and we'll be able to continue to broadcast without all of the drama that comes from not having enough money to stay on the air. We try and develop premiums because it seems that one of the things that has happened is that the fund drive is now premium focused, premium driven, and there's no way of going back on that. There was a time when we would just ask people to support the station, and they would, but at that time our expenses were a lot smaller. With these premiums, we're able to raise a larger amount of money, which makes it a lot easier. And now people have been conditioned to the point where they want to know what else are they going to get in addition to being able to hear the radio station when they make their pledges. So we urge as many of you as possible, if you're watching this, hopefully you will at some point make the decision to become a part of WBAI, and you do that by calling in and making a pledge, becoming one of our many sponsors. We have the primaries coming up this year. The election is also coming up this year. The primary is going to be, the Republican primary is going to be right here in New York at Madison Square Garden. And you know, BAI has got to be prominent in that mix, and we're going to try and bring you as much information as we can about what's going on at the Republican primary, as well as what is unfolding as we get closer to Election Day. So, excuse me, once again, please support WBAI, a very important institution. We're the only real listener-sponsored radio in this town. We don't take any money from large corporations. We rely on our listeners. And we're also having an election. We're in the midst of an election. By the time most of you see this, the election will be over. It's going to be over probably around that first week in February. And we'll have a new board, and which means a whole new journey we'll be embarking on into what is known, or what is being called, the democratization of WBAI. So once again, if you're interested in all of that, being a part of something new and dynamic, ever-changing, please become a part of WBAI and help support this very, very valuable institution.
Thank you very much.
It goes beyond King, talking about the civil rights movement, revealing the vital but neglected religious character of the story by demonstrating how King's profoundly experienced movement is a sacred mission of liberation and sacrifice pioneered by Moses and Jesus.
Some of them never get played, and tried to just make it a nice concert. So I'm sure people did enjoy it.
Pretty good, actually. I'm in front of the Star of Bethlehem Church in Ossining with community activist Sundiata Sadiq. There's a Martin Luther King service being held this evening. It's Martin Luther King Day, the 19th. This is here in Ossining, New York. It's freezing out, and there's some people called a protest to protest the featuring of Nita Lowy, congressional representative from this district, at the King celebration. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, what cracks me up is that here you have a woman, and I don't know who selected her to come to speak on Martin Luther King Day, but Martin Luther King was a proponent of peace. Here's a woman that President select Bush, the power to go to war under some fake guy with weapons of mass destruction. And I think it's an affront to the black community that she's here. There's people that work with Dr. King. Myself, I worked and helped with organize for the Poor People's Campaign, but I'm sure they wouldn't have me down here telling the truth about Dr. King. See, they want somebody to talk about Dr. King's dream. They don't want to talk about us going to Resurrection City and campaigning for jobs, housing for the poor, that type of thing. So I'm sure Nita Lowy is going to be talking about the dream, support Israel, that the apartheid state, and support the war. So I'm out here. Brothers and sisters said they were coming, but it is kind of cold. It's like 0 out here, but I'm here, and I'm expecting other brothers to be here.
So Lowy also apparently, which is another irony really, Martin Luther King was the preeminent civil rights activist in this country, and Lowy voted in favor of the Patriot Act, and although there were some Democrats and even 3 Republicans that didn't vote for it.
Well, again, I think it is the lack of research on the part of the people that invited her here to Westchester and to the Star of Bethlehem Church in Ossining. Particularly, when we've had a case where police officers executed a young black man and got away with it, the gentrification of the community, we got a racist mayor here, Perillo, who's trying to subvert the police department or the police chief and bring in a person of his choosing, so-called police commissioner. And, people should remember back in 1984 when Johnny Perillo was part of GOBA, he tried to organize a vigilante organization to patrol Spring and Maine. So we're not going to be talking about those things tonight. We're going to be talking about, some pie in the sky and black kids dancing with white kids in Georgia. And in fact, after Bush left Martin Luther King's gravesite, He appointed Pickering, who voted to make it a crime for black people and white people to marry each other.
So, the mayor, by the way, is inside. I saw him inside earlier. I also have here another community activist, Charlie Coca. I was wondering what you thought of having Lowy, who voted for the war resolution for Iraq, here to speak about Martin Luther King, who, of course, was killed shortly after he spoke against the war in Vietnam.
Well, it's obvious to us that Lowy is a warmonger. She's always been one. Anyone that would support the Zionist state of Israel against the Palestinian people, a peace-loving people, people that have resorted to committing suicide to protect their homeland. Why would the Star Bethlehem Baptist Church or any church allow her, a cracker, a straight-up cracker, to come here and speak to our people? You know, it's the same old thing. The only time they come around is on Martin Luther King's birthday. Other than that, you never see them. And
it's election day, too, though.
Well, that's the point. You see, they're here to gather their forces, the Uncle Toms that are in there waiting to hear from them. But there are people like me, and we're progressive, and we'll see what she has to say, which we know is just a lie. But we're here to listen anyway, because we're here to honor the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and not to let a cracker like Rita Lowy spoil it for
And good morning. Hey, how are you, Bernard? Hello, everyone. Hey, Jim, what's up? I'll probably be seeing him at Bryant Park on May 1st, by the way, although I might stop in at May Day is J Day further downtown. I'll keep you posted about that. I went to Earth Day at Westchester Community College yesterday, the program they had, which was put on by Taffy Williams and a host of environmental groups. They did an excellent job. There were a few hundred people there over the course of the day. I saw Michelle Lee from the Indian Point Safe Energy Coalition, Brooklyn activist Tiffany Ray Larkin, a whole bunch of people trying to make the Earth safe for us life forms. I'll have a video of this on the BAI website at www.wbai.org by Saturday. Check back at the local news section over the next couple of days and you'll find it. And while I was there, I read a letter about the draft to the crowd of maybe 200 people over the period I was speaking. It was a letter that Ralph Nader wrote, actually, and I found out at this event he got wide applause, while John Kerry, who wants to expand the war, didn't get a single clap, which I thought was pretty interesting. Mr. Crevo and I have been comparing notes about Nassau and Westchester medical centers, which are each in severe financial distress. Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll be able to prepare a joint report on this. I mean, it's getting so ridiculous that Nassau's CEO was just hired by Westchester to bring Westchester out of financial disaster after leaving Nassau in financial disaster. More to follow. Here's some news and local events for you all. First, the 50-year anniversary of Brown v. Board of Education. Here in Westchester, 50 years later, segregation still shapes how students relate to each other, their educational opportunities, and even which lockers they choose, according to students in several high schools in Westchester County. This is according to an article in the Journal News today. In Yonkers, you don't even have to look at a study to know which schools are predominantly white schools and which schools are predominantly black schools. Denise Lyons, a Gorton High School student, said during a day-long symposium on the decision at Pace University's law school. Everybody knows, she said. A number of students and administrators and teachers from Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, a few other high schools around Westchester County, Yonkers, where there's a deseg case that's a landmark, all say that this problem still exists, and most say it's something that needs to be struggled with. If you happen to be working on that, if you need some help, maybe you can contact me. My email address is on the WBAI website under Wake Up Call on Thursdays. I'd be glad to put you in touch with other people that are working on it. Citizens may help New Paltz with gay weddings. This is an interesting development here. The town board in New Paltz is scheduled to wade into the gay marriage debate tonight. That's Thursday, the 22nd of April, by discussing whether to authorize residents to become marriage officers. What they're going to do basically is deputize local residents to help with gay weddings, because so many folks have been coming into town every 2 weeks while they have the wedding ceremonies in New Paltz that there's been a tremendous amount of overtime for police and everyone else. So they're going to deputize people, and apparently in the village and in the town of New Paltz there are plenty of volunteers. So things are opening up there. Again, we'd like to thank our mayor up there, Jason West, who has done a phenomenal job. The No War Westchester Coalition is meeting on Saturday, the 24th, at the Westpac Foundation, 255 Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard, White Plains. The Progressive News Network will meet 11 to 12:45. This is AM to afternoon. The Coalition Against the War will meet at 12:45 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. Housing activist, and I guess you can't even limit him to that, all-around activist and great guy Dennis Hanratty will chair this meeting. Both coalition projects are doing very well. PNN, that's the Progressive News Network, which is a cable access activity up here, is exciting and energizing. The peace vigils are great. Each week people are more positive in their responses. Why not join us? The peace vigils are Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., Main Street and Mamaroneck Avenue in White Plains. Okay, also we have a conference sponsored by the African American Men of Westchester. It's an environmental conference on Saturday, the 20th. Oops, we missed that one. Sorry, folks. Let's see. It happens. In Rockland, the Rockland Coalition for Undoing Racism, Building a New Society. What? A fundraiser. Artists, artisans, musicians, food, dancing, socializing, networking, crafts, community, and such. Where? Nyack Center, 58 Depew Street, Nyack, 845-358-2600. When? Saturday, April 24th, 7 p.m. How much? Suggested donation is $5. This, for more information, call Wayne Bartow, 845-565-6613. The sponsors are a really long list, including the Fellowship of Reconciliation, Caribbean and Latin American Support Project, and a host of others. With the report from up the river, this is Don DeBar.
Coalition is meeting on Saturday, the 24th, at the Westpac Foundation, 255
of Midtown. Into steel and concrete casks will be held 6:30 to 8:30 at Crystal Bay Restaurant in Peekskill, which is right near Indian Point. That's 6:30 to 8:30 tonight. Entergy, which owns the twin nuclear power plants in Buchanan, New York, Valley, is apparently in some hot water. The former head of his security detail would apparently invoke the Fifth Amendment before a grand jury, according to a story reported in the Village Voice last week and in the local media here. The grand jury was investigating whether or not George Pataki had spies before the grand jury, which was probing a fundraiser that he had and some alleged criminal behavior. It's very interesting to see how that's going to roll out. Westpac has some announcements which I would like to read. First, the No War Westchester group will be meeting this Saturday at noon sharp at Westpac's office at 255 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in White Plains. If you have questions about this, you can call Ray at 516-596-9150. He'll be facilitating the meeting. The agenda, this will be, by the way, again at noon sharp on Saturday. There'll be a report on peace vigils, a report on the Progressive News Network, a new weekly show on White Plains Cable Access, a report on Bill of Rights work to protect our civil liberties, a discussion of perspectives on anti-war work, discussion of organizing for the March 20th demonstration in New York City against the war, discussion of plans to welcome the Republican National Convention to New York in August, a brainstorming session on how to kick Bush out of the White House non-violently, of course, and other announcements. That's Westpac Foundation, 255 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard off the Post Road in White Plains. That'll be at noon on this Saturday. Hope to see you there. Also, for those of you who missed the After Capitalism evening at Westpac on January 24th, or for those who attended and would like to hear more, or those planning to attend the Friday, February 20th Prout Seminar at Westpac, listen in tomorrow, February 6th, which is my 50th birthday, by the way, on WBAI, on the wake-up call with Teokasin Ghost Horse, Errol Maitland, and Mario Murillo, starting around 7 a.m. Books of After Capitalism will be available for sale with a pledge to WBAI, so be sure to tune that in. Also, we have this weekend in Troy at the Russell Sage College Upton Center, Saturday, February 7th from 12:30 to 5 p.m. The group STAR, Students Together Against Racism, invites you to attend a conference uniting to challenge racism. We're going to have workshops up there, Free Mumia, Drop the Rock, Environmental Racism, and Privilege and Race. This is particularly interesting. It asks why racism is so persistent, looks for definitions of white racism, and asks what can we do as individuals to dismantle racism. Also, if you look at the BAI website this evening, you will be able to see a video of this report this morning, and we're hoping to be able to post that on a weekly basis with a report from up the river. By the way, 212-209-2950, 212-209-2950. Would you please support the wake-up call report from up the river by calling in and saying, I'm from Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, Dutchess, Orange, and Ulster County. This is Don DeBar with a report from up the river.